Well, hey guys.
Good morning.
Oh, hey.
Okay.
Oh, hey.
What's up? How are you? What's new? Even though we've been sitting here talking for a while and we saw each other last night.
Yep.
Yeah, we did at a wonderful Gay Men's Course event again.
Indeed.
Great.
Yeah, we got to see Michael not do a lot of things.
Yeah. Refusing to participate. If anyone knows Michael, you know he's often refusing to participate.
Yeah,
It was a good show.
it was.
Entertaining. Mm-hmm. We got to get dinner beforehand.
We were threatened with tears that did not materialize.
Yeah. Every
Not even
time.
close. There was no point that I
No.
felt close. No.
But we've been talking about this. That when someone says you're going to cry, then even if I do feel like I'm going to cry, which I didn't, I'm not going to let anyone see it.
Yeah.
You can't threaten me with that.
No.
I will withhold these tears.
Don't threaten Amy with a bad time.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, then it also just sets up this expectation. Like, is this a song that they think I
Is
should
this
cry out?
is this the
crying
sad
song?
part?
Wait.
And then you start calibrating. Like, am I just dead inside? Because I don't feel. I don't feel anything. I don't feel nothing.
dead inside? Oh, no. Amy took it personal.
Yeah, it's like, well, I guess nothing affects me.
Your soul is made of leather.
Yeah, yes, it is. Thank
Leathery.
you for noticing. But vegan leather, I'll have you
Vegan
know.
leather, yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Old, worn out,
Pleather.
leather soul.
That's right.
Oh,
that's my soul.
Yeah.
What's your soul made of?
Macaroni and cheese, I guess.
I like
don't
it.
know.
Yeah. Nice and soft, but satisfying.
Uh-huh, yeah.
not what I
And
expected.
warm.
Mac and cheese.
Ooey gooey. Ew. Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like what I just did.
I don't
Ooh.
either.
What's your soul made of, Erin?
Cotton candy and night plates. Like it's good and then it's not. I don't know.
I do have to say we're less than 3 minutes in, and suddenly we're talking about souls and what they're made of.
Yeah.
So who knows? No one ever knows what you're
Yeah.
going to get with fuzzy
No.
memories.
No.
Yeah. Should we start with Gall
Sure.
to kick us off? Who would like to go first?
I think Aaron should.
Oh.
Go, Erin. Do it.
Okay. My unmitigated gall is sort of similar to what we talked about at the beginning, where when I don't like it when people tell me what kind of experience I'm going to have
Yeah.
or how much I'm going to love something, because it gives me like a uncomfortable feeling, like there's too big of an expectation. And this happened at a place called Totally Rolled Ice Cream.
Oh, I've heard of that place, yeah.
Yeah. So they have a standalone place, but then they also take this food truck around. And so we took the kids at one point to the food truck. Mm-hmm. Couple things. I'm going to set the scene for you. One, he has a picture in the food truck of Kevin Costner eating his rolled ice cream. And I should back up. If you don't know what rolled ice cream is, basically they just take ice cream, put toppings in it, and then roll it out really flat, and then roll it up into little rolls in the bowl, which make, one, very hard to eat. Two, a lot of steps that seem unnecessary. Three,
Why are we
it's
doing
not
that?
changing the flavor, so I'm not sure what we're gaining. But
So it's rolled up like a piece of paper. So it's like that thin?
yeah, and then there's multiples of them in the bowl stand. So it's not an easy.
So it's like ice cream on a stick, but without the stick?
Yes, and it's very hard.
like
It's hard
this.
to eat. You basically have to mash it back into original ice cream form to eat it. So,
And I feel like, I mean, I've never eaten it, but I've seen the truck.
Yeah.
And I always feel like the wait for that must be a long time.
It
Like,
does
it must take
take a
forever
while.
for them to get
Yes.
one order ready.
it does. So first of all, Kevin Costner eating a rolled ice cream.
Okay.
Okay.
All
I'm
right.
not sure if that is getting anyone to eat your ice cream more or less. I don't know
Yeah.
how that's planned out for him. But when we got up to the counter, he said, "Have you ever been here before?" And I said, "No." And he looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You'll be back."
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Okay, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. And it was
Okay.
too much intensity for the moment.
Yeah.
And also, don't tell me what I am and are not going to do, because now I have a chip on my shoulder and I automatically don't like your ice
Right.
cream. Like,
Yeah.
I already had issues with it before I even really got it. But now I'm like, I'll be back. Are you sure?
Yeah.
And now every time we see the truck, Mike and I are like, won't be back every time. Because it's some unmitigated gall to tell someone you are going to love this so much, you're going to be back. Especially someone that A, doesn't know me.
Yeah.
That I've never met, and is relying on one picture of Kevin Costner as marketing. That's it's not.
That's
we're not
your
getting
whole
anywhere.
marketing plan.
Yeah. Kevin Costner, and you'll be back. And I'm like, maybe that's it. Maybe he thinks that's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Maybe he could.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, yeah, they were
wow.
both kind of big stars at the same time.
They were.
So.
Or maybe he's trying to do an impression of Arnold Schwarzenegger and it failed spectacularly.
Because he used his normal voice. He
Huh,
didn't change
okay,
it. But,
all right.
And it was, but the intense eye contact is what was really
Yeah,
unnerving. And
we
I
don't
was
need
like,
that.
okay. Like, I'll say it's a food truck, which could also kind of be a kidnap van.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're sending out the wrong vibe. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And for the record, not going back.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say for the takeaway though, is it if you do go, do you say yes? I've been here before, like just the kind
I
Apparently.
think you should.
Yeah.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
If you encounter this truck and choose to approach this truck, even after what I've just told you, fine, take life in your own hands. But also maybe say you've been there, and then but maybe then he just says, "See, told you you'd be back."
That's
I don't
true.
know.
Maybe
I
he's
don't
just a
know.
dick in every scenario. Yeah.
And then look at the picture and say, "Is that Arnold Schwarzenegger?"
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
like
a
it.
vibe.
So you said it was hard to eat. What did Mike think of it?
The same.
Okay.
I mean, we put on, as a parent, sometimes you just put on a brave face because the kids are enjoying it or it's something unique. They like it. So you're just like, oh, yeah, this is fun. Mm-hmm. But even Mason was a little perplexed by the whole thing. Keep in mind, this is my kid also that would just prefer an icy over anything ice
That's true.
cream.
Yeah.
So he was like, I think
is a
it was
lot of
perplexing
effort.
to him. Like, this seems like extra steps I didn't need.
Which is true.
Yeah.
He's a smart kid that points out the obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to take the long way anywhere.
I like it.
There's a more efficient way. Let's do that.
Yeah.
So this didn't really track for him. I think Evan really liked it, but he likes ice cream. So, yeah, that's where we're at.
All right. Yeah, that sounds bad. I don't. The ice cream sounds bad. The dude sounds bad. The whole experience sounds bad.
Yeah, it
I don't
wasn't
like it.
great. It wasn't great.
You know what else I don't like? I'm gonna go into my goal.
Do it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's bats.
Oh.
Listen, I know bats are important. I know they play a critical role in the ecosystem. They eat like a shit ton of mosquitoes that apparently could, kill us all.
Zika.
Great. Yeah, exactly. Good. Great. Good that you're doing all of that. Then why must you get in my house?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why must you look so terrifying and raise a primal urge in me to scream and run away, which I never do with anything else? Why must you then fly around my bedroom even when I have the fucking door open, ready for you to fly out of, and you're just flying around like a drunk teenager, like, oh, I'm good, I can't find my way out.
No.
Why do you then perch on the wall right up here?
Oh gosh.
Are we looking at the spot?
You're looking at the spot.
I don't like it.
Yeah. And then after I've closed you off and I've called a bunch of bat people the next morning and they finally say, like, why don't you open the door, see if he's still there? You're gone. You disappeared, but somehow you're probably still in the house and there's the specter of you existing in my house.
I don't like that.
Why? Why, bats? Why? Do all of your stuff outside. That's where you belong.
That's where
You belong outside.
Go back to where you
Go
belong.
back to where you belong. And I made the mistake because when the bat was spotted, it was in my bathroom. It was hanging out on the toilet plunger. I was like, I don't know how.
What?
What a
I don't
little
know.
Like
pervert.
on the floor?
Yes. I don't know how you got there. I don't know what, but Louise spotted you. Louise the cat spotted you. And Louise was going in and like kind of doop, doop, like trying to start the whole, killing process. And I pulled her back out of some fear. Like, I don't know, like, should you be doing this? Then I realized later, like, you've got your rabies stuff. You've got like this bat. You are 20 pounds and that bat is maybe 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that bat picked the wrong one.
Yeah. So after this incident, I gave my cats a pep talk and said, listen, you are free to murder at will. All right.
That's the smart thing to do.
You see a bat come in here. You don't even have to tell me. It's fine. Go for it. Kill it. If you want to bring it to me later, I will try not to scream. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
I appreciate
mobilize
it.
the troops. That was smart.
Yes.
Also, sorry, I'm going to go back a step.
No, please do.
There was a world where you could have been sitting on the toilet and looked
Yes!
over and there was a
Yes!
bat on the plunger.
Yes.
I don't like that world.
The only reason I spotted that fucking bat is because Louise spotted it. And I was like, what are you looking at? And that's...
And
yeah.
then you were like, it's a goddamn bat.
It's a bat. And then I tried to put towels over it and like remove it, but it was making noises. And
No!
like I was trying to wrap it up and I was like, ah, da, 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 da. So then I start running down the stairs and the cats are looking at me like, what? Are we under attack? What is happening?
I wish your neighbors would have seen you throw a toilet plunger wrapped in a towel
Yeah.
out of your bathroom window
That would have been...
in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And then come over the next day and do a wellness check and be like, hey, girl, you okay?
Y'all good in there? What's happening? How you feeling?
That's fair.
Yeah. It took me a long time, by the way, when I called around to like bat people because this is happening a lot right now, and everyone's just booked. Like everyone,
Really?
like yeah.
I didn't think this was bat season.
Apparently, it's all bat season.
What?
We're just in the bats world now.
I don't think this is even peak bat season. I think peak
Yeah.
bat season is like August.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a guy come over and check it out,
Yeah.
and he said, okay, so you've been here about 7 years, and how many bats have you seen? I said, like, maybe 3. And he's like, okay, so I think you're good. And he took a look around the house, and he didn't spot any, like, major... He saw, like, gaps that could be closed.
Okay.
Yeah, he did.
That's what everyone says when they come over here. I see some gaps that can be closed. And then he hung around for a long time telling me about how to close the
Oh,
gaps.
did he?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I know how to close my gaps,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. Yeah, it turned out like he charged me a little bit for the inspection, and he said, they could definitely do something. It'll probably be in the thousands,
Oh, gosh.
So like he said, just if you don't want to do that right now, that's fine. And yeah. So here I am, living in a bat's house apparently.
So you got like the most apathetic salesman. He
Yes.
was like,
Yep.
yeah, you don't really have that much bad activity. I mean, we can do something.
That's exactly how he
But-
was. He was like, I don't want to charge you for this. He almost didn't charge me for the inspection fee. He's like, I don't want to. And I was like, are you sure? He's like, well, it would get my boss off my back if you did. And I was like, okay.
If I did my job.
I like how he approaches like he's working part-time in a fast food place.
Yeah. I'm going to need you to pay for these fries, it turns out. I don't know. What a weird experience.
Very weird experience.
I'm sorry.
So bats, you're some fucking gall.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they do.
You top bats and gaps.
Probably not, but I can try.
Okay.
I've fucking had it with the wind. I have fucking had it.
All right. Give it to us.
And like for like the last 2 months, like every day you go outside and it's just windy all the time. We don't need it. We get it. You're the wind. You can blow things.
Yeah.
Who can't? Just stop it. Just
We
chill
can
the
all
hell
blow
out.
things.
We all know how to blow things. Stop it.
I mean, it's just dumb. You're dumb.
You dumb wind.
You're dumb and annoying and stupid, and nobody wants any part of you.
Hey, remember when we talked about wind before, and you talked about windologists and like what they might say about this, like if the moon's in retrograde.
Yeah.
I bet windologists have a lot to say about this.
Probably. They probably think I'm being blasphemous right now. I'm not.
I'm not.
I don't worship the wind god.
I mean, 2 things came to mind. One, is there ever a time that it's too windy to bike?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yesterday afternoon, I went on a bike ride, and on the way back, it was very.
Tough.
It was I was going right into the wind, and it just makes it harder. And I'm just cursing on my bike to nobody because I'm by myself, and I'm just like, "Fuck you, wind!" Like I said that out loud.
That's okay. That makes more sense. Yeah, like biking into the wind. I was thinking for me, it was just riding and then falling over because the wind hit me and I just took me out. I like that. 2, how does this new hatred of wind work into your love of colors in the wind?
Oh no!
I feel like "Colors of the Wind" is like the only redeeming thing about wind.
Okay.
Okay.
Is the
All right.
song "Colors
Yeah.
of the Wind"?
I agree.
Is it triggering though right now to hear that song? Do you listen to it less?
No, I mean I listen to a normal, healthy amount.
Okay.
Paul
follow up. I'm not. I wasn't gonna follow up. I was gonna let him have that. Like whatever is
want to
healthy.
know
Yeah.
what's normal and healthy because
2 to 3 times a day.
sure, okay.
Yeah.
Because since you mentioned it, I did add it to my regular playlist because I was like, that is a good song. So I just want to make sure I'm in the healthy range.
Part of me wants to just listen to it enough so that at the end of the year, my Spotify Wrapped, that it's the top song, and they
Real
send me like
messed
a
up.
special award. They're like, "You're the only one in the world who had this as their top song for the year."
That's kind of great.
That could
yeah.
be really cool.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm sorry that the wind is targeting you, especially.
Yeah, I feel personally attacked.
Yeah.
It does really wreak havoc, though, like with allergies and everything else. It's been a miserable season for it because it's so windy. Everything's everywhere all the time.
Even Louise the cat is struggling with allergies and stuff
Oh.
when the wind is kicking up. So yeah, fuck you, wind. Why are
You
you
right in the wind.
shove it up your
The
butthole?
wind hole.
Yeah, I was going to say wind hole, and then I didn't quite get there.
On that note, shall we talk about our year of focus today,
Yes.
which is 1980, the first year of these very special, special decades.
Wonderful.
I imagine that when the clock hit January 1st, 1980, the whole world felt it. It was like this decade. It's going to be something
This is going to be
epic.
the age of Aquarius.
Yeah.
This will be the decade where we Wang Chung tonight.
And we walk like an Egyptian, and we do so many things.
That's fun.
Well, Aaron, do you want to kick us off with something from
Sure,
1980?
Sure.
Even though you weren't born.
No, I wasn't born
Yeah.
in 1980. But so what I did is found things that started in 1980 that were
Excellent.
enduring still.
Great.
For my childhood and throughout. And one of those was a fast food restaurant that I feel like probably no one else here has heard of, but was a pinnacle of my childhood. And that is called Rax Restaurant.
Rax?
Rax. Rax.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
And it's specialized in roast beef.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Yeah.
This is going real bad.
Yeah, it's not
real
good.
fast.
It's not good. I'm going to go
Oh,
ahead
no,
and
you
give
brought
you
visual
an
aids.
ad.
Ooh,
You can see
what
it.
is that?
Yeah. I thought, in my memory, it was a dinosaur. It turns out that their mascot was like an alligator.
What the?
Right,
You know,
right.
where you get roast beef from, an alligator.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So this franchise actually started in Ohio in 1967, but in year 1980 it expanded, franchised into 504 locations, and one happened to be the city that I grew up in.
Wow.
The thing that I remember, like I said, I messed up. I thought it was a dinosaur this whole time in my memory, but it was this.
It kind of looks like a dinosaur.
Yeah,
It doesn't
it's a
really look
very
like an alligator.
nebulous-looking odd fellow. But the thing that stuck out to me was that you got a very special thing in a kid's meal, which was this alligator like reusable cup that you could drink out of,
Oh.
and I thought it was the coolest thing.
This kid is
So-
holding it up, and he looks sort of excited and also
Terrified?
confused.
'cause
Yeah.
there's an alligator next to him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
an
that's true.
alligator-
An alligator leering next to him.
Also, is that a wig on the alligator?
It looks like
Or maybe
it.
a hat? Maybe, is it a beret?
Oh, it's a hat.
It's a country time hat that's all folded up
Yes.
and has like, yeah.
Oh, I get it.
Okay,
Right.
okay, that makes more
Because
sense.
he's from the swamps.
Right, but he came out to give us hot roast beef.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Oh.
Right. So, like I said, they specialized in roast beef sandwiches, but like all good franchises, they said, why stop there?
Oh, God, why?
And at one point, they expanded to a never-ending salad bar and dessert bar.
oh.
I have specific memories of the salad bar.
Okay.
Then
okay.
they went ahead and entertained pizza, tacos,
Oh.
and other kinds of pasta, like full pasta dinners.
Okay.
And a lot of people believe that their downfall into bankruptcy was the diversification of the menu. Because
Sure.
instead of sticking with what worked, like the hot roast beef, they expanded into all these things that they couldn't really support. I, however, when doing research, personally believe that it was the slogans they adopted
Oh.
that went to their
Oh,
downfall.
I can't wait.
The first one was that they coined themselves the champagne of fast food.
What?
Which
Roast
feels like,
beef is
yeah.
the champagne.
You're right. Which feels like saying that a Twinkie is the champagne of the snack aisle, or
I mean, that I might agree with, but
okay,
yeah.
It just doesn't quite champagne and fast food.
Nope.
I don't know if that was your best comparison.
No.
Well, it wasn't like Miller High Life already calling
Champagne of
themselves the
beers.
champagne of beers?
Yeah,
Like, it was sorta,
it seems a little odd.
yeah.
They moved on to All the Right Stuff.
That's a movie with Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Well, they thought it applied to the
No,
roast beef.
you're thinking of All the Right Moves.
Oh, all the right.
And there's a movie called The Right Stuff about with
mashed it up.
astronauts. Yes.
Astronauts.
That could be an
plus-
interesting matchup.
Astronauts
explore
plus
that.
high school Tom Cruise.
Plus roast beef, apparently.
They're just holding roast beef sandwiches, product placement, and everything. Which moved on to their next logo, Fast Food with Style.
Oh boy.
Which is, I don't know if you have an alligator and an old-timey country hat that we're going
And
with
also,
style.
why is the kid in a suit?
Because
Right.
he's going to Rax.
Oh,
And that was
boy.
their next thing. Got to get back to Rax.
Oh god.
And Rax, by the way, spelled R-A-X.
Yeah, I don't
just
like
so
that.
we're clear.
But it also feels like it's trying to play on the idea of ladies' racks.
Right, yeah.
Especially with this next one.
Oh boy.
I'd rather Rax, wouldn't you?
What?
So, in this example, Amy might say, let's go to McDonald's. And Heath might say, I'd rather Rax, wouldn't you?
I could hear that coming out of your mouth
Right, yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
I feel like they didn't need the wouldn't you part. They could have just said, I'd rather Rax.
Yeah.
Like, that
Yeah.
would have been a more solid slogan.
Rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
There's alliteration.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They ended with my all-time favorite that is clearly right before they gave up. Because the slogan is, you can eat here.
Oh,
That's it?
You can eat here. You can eat here. It's an option. That's all we're saying. Consider us an option. You can, in fact, eat here.
yeah, that's too passive. That's too passive.
You can eat here.
That feels like the marketing media. They're like, we're done. We
It's
got
done,
nothing.
guys.
No more ideas.
Pizza, tacos, pasta, it fucked us. We're done. You can eat here. That is it. That's all we can offer. We don't even care if you bring in your own picnic lunch.
Yeah.
You can eat here. You can eat here.
There's tables and chairs here.
Just to be clear, the alligator won't eat you. You can eat
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Those alligator cups got me.
Man.
Got me going back to, I'd rather Rex.
Nope. Nope. I would rather not. Thank you.
From now on, whenever we're deciding on a place to eat, just so you both know, I'm going to say,
Rex?
Rather
would you
Rex.
rather Rex? I'd rather Rex.
One quick follow up. Was it basically like Arby's with their like
Yeah.
same blech.
Do you remember that SNL sketch where they did for Arby's? I'm assuming like Arby's actually paid them for dollars and they had to make a sketch. And it was like, the whole thing is like, but wait, why do you have meat so cheap? Where did you get this meat? Like that was the whole premise. It's like, we have the meats, but where did you get it?
We don't want to know the answer
No,
to that.
you don't.
Nope.
No.
Last Christmas, somebody on Instagram was playing that old Arby's commercial of Lauren Bacall, where at Christmas time where they would hand out the like the holiday mugs, right? And they were and they-
Lauren Bacall?
Yeah, she did. Yeah, it was from I don't know, probably the mid to late '80s, and she was shilling these mugs from Arby's, and like you ordered a meal and like paid an extra $2.99 or something like that, you'd get this elegant meal, and you could get the whole set, and you could serve them at your family holiday meal, and it was.
I want to be in that conversation where someone's like, Lauren, I got an opportunity for it. You're going to be spokesperson at Arby's. And she's like, I was married to Humphrey Bogart. I don't think so.
Yeah. And her agent's like, honey.
Here's how much they're going to pay you.
Yeah.
She's like, fine, I will do
Fine,
it.
I love Arby's mugs. You can eat here.
Yeah. Well, my next one.
Your
is-
first one.
My first one. You're right. Just time traveling. It's based in Australia. It's we're going over to Australia
Oh, good day,
Okay.
mate.
in August.
He did it, so I didn't have to.
In August of 1980, a family was they were camping out at Ayers Rock.
Oh, I think I know what you're gonna
Yep.
say.
And the mom settled her kids to sleep.
Oh no! I don't like where
Returned to
this
the
is
barbecue
going.
area. And around 8 p.m., the mom's name is Lindy, and her baby daughter is Azaria. And Azaria cried out. Lindy went to check on her. She saw a dingo leaving the tent.
A
And
dingo
the
stole my
dingo
baby.
stole her baby. Dingoes are wild dogs in Australia, by the way. So there you might be hearing in your head, "The dingo stole my baby," and you're like, why is that so prominent? Why is this case so prominent? Because it got so fucked up.
What?
So Lindy, she's frantic.
Yeah.
And they did an extensive search of the campground. They didn't find the baby. They didn't find
What?
the dingo. But they did find some blood-stained clothing 7 days later in some boulders, like were over, when we're talking Australian campground, we're talking like,
The
Yeah.
Outback.
Yes.
Not the
Yeah.
restaurant.
not like a
Not like, yeah.
Not a bloomin' onion in sight.
not a lawn. We're talking. So, but because of this, they blamed the mom.
Oh, no,
They thought, well, it makes total sense. Like she killed the baby. They killed the baby in their van and they hid it somehow. And then they blamed it on a dingo.
Oh, jeepers.
So then in 1981, they actually found evidence of a dingo. But some officials were not satisfied. So they did another investigation and they charged the mom with murder. And there was a trial in 1982 with all sorts of later disproven evidence like blood splatter and things like that that all pointed to her. And even though so many people spoke on their behalf, so many people at the campground that had heard things, even some indigenous folks who were like helping guide, tracks and various things spoke up on her behalf, but she was found guilty. And she went to jail.
No.
And she served in prison until 1986.
Oh.
And she had been pregnant when she went in, so she had her baby there in jail. But then in 1988, she was cleared of all charges because they did yet another investigation. They're like,
Oh, my
oh,
God.
whoops. Like, this was all junk science, like you said. But this became just a huge story in Australia. But not just Australia. It reached the whole world. Like, we probably know it because there was a movie with Meryl Streep where
Yeah.
she played the mom and the dingo's got my baby. And that became a huge, line that we all know because of that.
What?
So she was, let out in 1988, but that wasn't the end. There was another investigation in
Jesus.
2012.
No, let this lady live.
But this time they found again, for the third time, that the baby had been taken by a dingo. So all of this just because they don't believe a lady. The lady's got to kill her baby.
So this lady had to suffer literally a wild dog stealing her baby.
Yes.
Obviously killing it, which is a horrible
Yes.
thing to imagine as a parent happening to one of your children. And then be put on trial for it. Then be excused and then be like, wait, I think we're going to do one more investigation. Also, Australia, do you have no other crimes? Why are we spending
did
this?
nothing else happen in Australia in all those years?
And what's so crazy is the 2012 report, there was a lot of stuff about as much as we in Australia don't want to believe it, dingoes can be vicious and they can be. So it feels like a big storyline was like, dingoes can't do that. Why would a dingo take a baby?
It was almost like Australia just doesn't want to tarnish the image of a dingo.
Exactly.
We'll send this lady to jail so you don't think dingoes are assholes.
Right. So I don't know what was behind that besides some sort of maybe Australian pride. I mean, and listen, I'm not making fun of Australia. We got some fucked up shit here in America.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So not going that route, but just saying that was a really strange angle that prevented them from seeing, no, the mom didn't kill the baby. A wild dog did.
Also, I've heard that phrase, and I'm just going to admit this. I always thought a dingo was like some sort of breed of kangaroo. I never realized it was a wild dog.
Yeah.
I had an image of a wild kangaroo putting a baby in its pouch and running away. That's literally what I thought this entire time.
I mean, that might be good because then the baby's raised by kangaroos, and then it's a whole Jungle Book sort of scenario.
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's not what happened.
No.
No.
Meryl Streep was on Andy Cohen's talk show once a few years ago, and he asked her to say the line, a dingo took my baby, and she was like, oh, no, I can't do that. That's something that actually happened. It's very, I mean, that shows, usually a good time for everybody, but it was a rare instance where, and she was polite and professional about it, but she had to sort of redirect it, but she was not interested in sort of making light of that particular
Yeah,
thing.
because
Oh,
at
I
the
bet
point she
not.
made the movie, which was I think late 80s, all of this fucked up shit was going on. So yeah, it's good on her to be like, sorry.
Yeah. And it's weird. I mean, if they didn't want their baby, why just leave it in the outback? Just go somewhere. Just go
Yeah,
home.
why would you
Yeah.
go to the effort of murdering your
Framing
baby
a
in their
dingo?
van and framing a framed.
You killed your baby and you're framing a dingo. That's what the police investigation ended up at.
Yeah, and that's the
And
story
they won't
they
stand
thought.
for it.
That's the story they thought happened.
Not on my watch.
Like, you can't frame a dingo on my watch.
I've been around the Outback a few times, and I know when someone's framing a dingo. I ain't not a chance. No.
Yeah, so a bizarre little story from 1980 in the Outback.
Wow.
That somehow became this massive, like, global thing.
Yeah.
That I never knew all the details of
No.
until I looked into this.
I know the
but,
phrase,
yeah.
and that's it. I didn't have any idea. Wow.
Wow. All right,
Awesome.
Heath, take us away from dingoes and eating babies.
All right, I can do that.
Okay.
If anything can do that, I think what I'm going to talk about right now can do that.
Okay, great.
Oh.
So there's a movie in 1980 called Cruising, and it starred
Oh.
Al Pacino.
My God.
And he's a police detective who has gone undercover to catch a serial killer who is targeting gay men associated with the leather scene in New York City in the late 70s. Yeah.
Cruising,
the
baby.
theme song, I
If
think.
this doesn't scream ABC Family to you, I don't know what does.
So this was an after-school special,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Definitely.
So William Friedkin wrote and directed the film, which is based on a novel with the same name that was written by Gerald Walker, who was a reporter for the New York Times. So it's it's all like real stuff. William Friedkin also directed The Exorcist, and he brings the same light touch and good vibes to Cruising that he showcased in The Exorcist.
Is that a quote or your interpretation? Because what? I'm still scared of that movie.
That's my interpretation.
Okay.
Light touch and
So
fun times.
the
Love
gays are as scary as demon possession. Okay, good.
Oh,
Good to know.
no.
Yeah.
So Al Pacino, who, for anyone who doesn't know, he didn't used to look like potato salad that had been left out in the sun. He was a reasonably handsome person.
He was.
Yeah.
In the 70s? Yeah.
So he played police detective Steve Burns, and when I was reading this, I kept thinking of Montgomery Burns from The
Yeah.
Simpsons.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, so I've got a picture of Montgomery Burns.
So he's
yeah.
Montgomery Burns' brother. He was assigned this undercover role because he was slim and had dark hair, similar to several of the victims. So, which seems like a weird
Okay.
way to choose who gets what police job.
Yeah, because you could change your hair.
Right. Yeah.
So
And yeah, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
This is some discrimination. It almost feels like, well, you look like a gay.
Yeah.
Get out in those streets.
You look like you suck dick. Get out there.
You look like you know how to blow things.
Yeah. Do you know the wind? So Steve Burns puts on a leather jacket and he heads out to bars such as the Eagle's Nest, the Ramrod,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and the Cockpit.
All excellent names, gotta say.
Which, had I not known better, I would have just assumed were Hallmark Gold Crown stores.
Obviously.
but they weren't, So Detective Burns goes so far as to rent an apartment near the bars, so to kind of further integrate himself into the leather community. And he makes friends with his neighbor Ted, who, gets a crush on Steve Burns.
Of course.
Turns out that Ted has a jealous dancer boyfriend who doesn't love Steve Burns. You know who else isn't loving Steve Burns? Steve Burns' girlfriend, Nancy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nancy.
Steve can't tell Nancy why he has to go undercover, and it turns out that trying to be gay sometimes and straight the rest of the time isn't easy. And dozens of generations of gay men and women and their therapists could have told you that, Steve.
Yeah, you're not breaking new ground here, Steve.
Yeah.
So it turns out that Steve is about as good at being a detective as he is at being gay. He thinks he found the killer, a waiter named Skip. But after the police interrogate and beat up Skip,
Oh,
they check his fingerprints and realize that they don't match the fingerprints of the killer.
sure.
Which seems like the fingerprint check was maybe something they could have done before they beat him up or really interrogating
I was just
him.
thinking.
Yeah, you
Wouldn't
know.
you do that first?
Shortly after that, Steve Burns thinks he's found the actual killer and meets up with him for sex in a park,
Oh,
as the detective does.
yeah.
When the perp tries to stab Steve Burns stabs the perp first.
Whoa.
And the perp's fingerprints match the killer's fingerprints.
Oh.
But then at the end of the movie, they make it seem like Steve Burns might have been the killer the whole time.
What?
Yeah. Like they're trying, I don't know. I feel like they were trying to make this seem more complicated and interesting. I mean, it is complicated and interesting on its own, but it's
Yeah, we don't need that
yeah,
twist.
Yeah.
No.
So the movie pissed off everyone.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
The gays
Yeah.
thought it was a narrow and unflattering portrait of all
Sure.
gay men. Critics thought the changes that the director made when he adapted the book to the screen didn't make any sense. Audiences thought the ending was ambiguous and stupid, and it didn't match the book, which was, based on actual events. The production values of the film weren't great either because they had to redub most of the dialogue because there were so many protesters at filming locations that they could barely hear the actors over the shouting protesters.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like the gays in New York just came out and they were just like, we don't want this
So
out
they
there.
got wind of it while it was filming.
Good use of wind.
Yeah,
Yep.
thank you. Yep. They got the wind. And they were pissed off during the filming.
Yeah, you love to see it or hear it. as it
Absolutely.
were. The MPAA originally gave the film an X rating.
Oh.
And
Was there any sex in the movie, though?
There was some.
Okay, but because it was gay.
Right, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So the filmmakers had to cut footage and resubmit the film several times. By the time they got an R rating, they had cut about 40 minutes from the film.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and the director has said that the missing 40 minutes of footage didn't have any effect on the story. And if there is one thing that could possibly bring the country together, it's that nobody wants anyone to make any movies with an extra 40 minutes of footage that we don't need.
Yeah.
And I think you should add
We
that
don't
to
need a
the Bill of
director's
Rights.
Yes.
Do it. Get out the
agreed. If
Constitution.
you could cut it and it doesn't affect the story, what were we doing?
40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Ugh.
It was just filled with sex, apparently.
Yeah.
So, are there scenes where Al Pacino's like making out with men?
I haven't seen the whole movie
Okay.
at one sitting in my life. I've seen
Yeah.
lots of parts of it.
All right.
I think a lot of it is him watching other people do it.
Got it.
Because at that time, you couldn't. That was.
I was gonna say
unheard
that would
of.
have been huge.
Right,
Yeah. If it had gone just a little bit different, he could have been a gay icon.
Oh yeah, he could have
He
been.
could have been beloved by the community.
And he, his life would be different now because he wouldn't look like old potato salad.
Exactly.
Somebody would have stepped in and been like,
Someone would have
"Yeah,
helped.
let's try to part your hair on the other side. Let's see how that works."
It reminds me of Kevin Bacon was on the Daily Show this week,
Yeah.
and they were asking him about like some of the different roles he's played, and like how he's like, I don't care about playing a villain. Like other people, have a problem with that. And they asked him, "Is that what you're afraid of? That clip is what they're going to show in your in memoriam thing at the Oscars?" And he goes, "I'm actually just afraid I'm not going to make the in memoriam at the Oscars." But then it made me think of that. Like, what if they use Al Pacino clip from
Oh
that
my
movie instead of
God.
all of the other like Godfather? and-
Someone who really like hates Al Pacino is like, I know what I'm gonna do.
boom.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a clip of Al Pacino watching two dudes go at it in a dark bar.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, sir.
Yeah.
One final note. I really like the names of the bars. It reminds me of when I lived in Chicago and I lived around Boys Town. One of my favorites was called Manhole. And every time they had a sign outside that would change all the time, and it'd be things like "Love your hole." I was like, that's so affirming. You're just
Yeah.
walking down the street and you see "Love your hole."
That's good.
Even girls can appreciate that.
Yes. I was trying to incorporate wind in there for Heath, like wind.
The wind
hole.
through the well,
Oh.
you keep trying to trigger Heath. Is that what's happening?
No, I just thought he could capitalize on the wind thing because
Yeah,
I don't think
true.
he's the only one that feels that way.
True.
And so,
I need to harness the hatred of the wind and gather people.
Ooh, could you make a campaign out of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, it wouldn't be like a cult.
Sure.
that's how every cult starts. It's not going to be a cult.
This would be the kind of cult that helps people.
Of course. Okay.
My cult's different. It's a
what
cool
everyone
cult.
says.
Cool cult, yeah.
Soon we're gonna see Heath show up in some volleyball shorts and a thing like Keith Raniere.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be.
If you ask us to play night volleyball, Heath, it's over, bud.
We can't do it.
We can't do it. I can't wear those little weird sweatbands.
You say that now.
Yeah, true.
You know what? That I was actually, as I was saying I wouldn't do it, I was like, damn it. If Heath asked me to play night
Yeah.
volleyball, I probably would.
It's true because we love Heath, so
I know.
we're gonna
I'd be
do
like,
what he says.
I guess he needs this. I
yeah,
don't know. Yeah.
I mean, we
How
can
you-
help him out.
Yeah.
This is how cults start.
This
Yes.
is it.
Yes.
We have a cult of personality because we like
Uh-huh.
Heath so much. Oh my God, we are susceptible. We're fucked.
God, I always thought I'd be good at saying no to a
Nope,
cult, and
you're
I would
not.
not. God damn it, Heath. You got me in a cult.
Well,
Damn it, Heath.
you'll thank me later.
You'll thank me later. Well, I'm going to take us to a place that I didn't realize happened in 1980. But
Okay.
like I said at the beginning, that I picked things that like had an enduring thing in my childhood. And just remember this coming up a lot in elementary school, like people saying, "Look, oh, you're going to spontaneously combust," and I was
Yes.
like, laugh. I always like didn't understand that there was a story behind that. Henry Thomas
Oh no, Henry
was
Thomas.
73 in 1980.
Oh, I was thinking of the kid from E.T.
E.T. He was like
Yeah.
7 in 1980. Yeah.
He was living a relatively normal life in South Wales. In 1980, he was discovered dead in his home. He appeared to have been sitting in his chair with slippers nearby, eyeglasses that had fallen to the ground. All that's left was his skull and the bottom part of his legs with pants and socks still on. Yeah, take that in. The skull and the bottom part of his legs with pants and socks still on,
So just everything in between
Was gone.
Okay.
including, I guess, his face, because it's just a skull.
Okay.
The rest of the body was turned to ashes, yet nothing else aside from the chair he'd been sitting on was burned. So, after much investigation, their conclusion was that he spontaneously combusted.
Okay, but this also kind of feels like when they had that shark in the Utah lake,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're just like, "Well, it's a prank." Like they just,
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
it
like
doesn't feel.
Yeah.
They did investigation. There was nothing else burnt in the apartment. There was just the ashes there, but nothing like out of the hearth, out of the there was no other indications that there was a fire or anything like that. I personally think that you didn't do enough investigation into Henry Thomas, because it
Yes.
sounds like to me he faked his own death. But they literally decided it was spontaneous combustion and just moved right along.
I wouldn't
Which-
even think that would be a box on the form, like a box to check.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they went ahead
Form.
and checked
Yeah.
other and wrote that in.
maybe.
And then their
Maybe.
police captain was like, "What? Do better." And they're like, "Look at the scene. Speaks for itself. Nothing else we can do, man. Spontaneous combustion." And then we all were like walking around believing that was possible for a period of time.
Wow, the Welsh.
Did they
Just-
say where the skull was? Was like the skull sitting on the seat
In
of
the
the
chair, I'm guessing. Yeah. 'Cause
So like
everything was
so like on the seat, and then the rest of his legs just
Yeah.
hanging out.
His lower legs with pants still
and
up.
socks still on.
Like, how are his pants staying up though? Like, if the rest of them burn up, like,
Yeah.
wouldn't they just like you'd think they just fall down?
Also, is spontaneous combustion like it just stops? Like it only envelops like the middle
Right.
of you, like your Pac-Man, and then it leaves
Uh-huh.
the rest? I mean, I have conspiracy theories that I've come up with, such as his last name's Thomas. Is there something with Dave Thomas and Wendy's? Did he steal a recipe?
yeah.
I don't know.
Could be.
But I think we need to explore why he felt the need to fake his own death. Because
Yeah.
that's the conclusion I come to.
It is fascinating that the first place you went was the Wendy's founder as the villain in this story.
Clearly,
Fast food is big business, and they will do anything to keep their market share.
she's got an allegiance to Rex, so
true, that's
taking
true.
down
Get outta
Wendy's is
here,
just part of
Wendy's.
that.
You can't eat here because you might spontaneously combust. That's what Rack should have had as their next slogan.
Oh,
You
yeah.
won't spontaneously combust here.
Yeah.
But you can eat here, by the way. I didn't know if it was clear that we do sell food. You can eat here.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe he ate at Rex and just sort of inside of him, it just sort of like
Maybe. Oh my God.
Rax, you dirty devil.
Are you gonna be okay? All
I
that
don't
rax, it's probably still in you.
Right. It's layered with
Along
all
with
that
those-
gum I ate. that I
And the
wasn't
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pies.
Pies?
Yeah.
Oh, God. No wonder my insides are a wreck.
Yeah.
I did damage. It was like I was doing hard drugs from the age of 2 to 10.
Well, my next one is an unsolved mystery, sort of.
all right.
Sort of. On March 22nd of 1980, the mysterious Georgia Guidestones were erected near Elberton, Georgia. Have you ever heard of these?
No.
I've never heard of them either, and this is wild. So there's a man who commissioned the creation of these stones named Robert Christian. And that came out to be a false name.
Really?
Yeah. And he wrote 10 new guidelines for all humankind.
Oh no.
And he had them inscribed in stone in 8 languages on vertical slabs of pyramid blue granite. And I'm going to show you what they look like.
Yes, I love visual aid.
Oh.
What?
This is the English text.
So did he pay to have it put up?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the first of these new principles for humankind instructed the reader to maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Since the global population at the time was about 4 billion, that meant
Yeah, that's less.
requiring a population reduction of about 90%.
Ooh, does he think he's Thanos?
Pretty much. The 10 guidelines include a call for a world court to resolve external disputes, a living new language to unite humanity.
Okay.
He also laid out other plans that limited individual rights. Here we
Sure,
go.
sure,
Here we
sure,
go.
sure,
Here we
sure,
go.
sure. Okay.
Potential voters should be tested on economics and history.
Oh boy. Hey, everyone, before the election. I hear a lot of people say that now. Let's remember.
Yep. And they should have to show evidence of economic productivity.
So
to
they have
vote.
to have a job.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
And healthcare should not be seen as unlimited. And some people should get preferential treatment
In healthcare?
in healthcare.
So white people. He's talking about white
Absolutely.
people, right? Okay.
Absolutely. He doubled down on this and wrote a book later.
Oh no.
Is it called
Talking about population control, which basically reads like a Republican's wet dream, from what I could gather.
Yeah.
It's all about like limiting reproduction, encourage childbearing by the indigent, the lazy, the irresponsible, and the inadequate. Discourage childbearing from all of those
I was going to
people.
say,
Yeah,
that's
like
a
why
twist.
are we doing
Okay.
that? Yeah. he kept calling for this pretty much throughout the rest of his life, for this population policy. And he also said at the time he was praising China's one-child policy, which only later, came out like that caused a lot of deaths. It caused a lot of real bad stuff. But he was a fan. Mm-hmm. He was a fan of that. Mm-hmm. So over the years, after these stones were erected, that are apparently like the new 10 Commandments, right?
Okay.
A lot of people showed up. A lot of devotees, probably a lot of Christians, who really liked the fact that his last name was Christian.
I was going to say, yeah.
And that he put all of these out there. Some called it satanic. Felt like Satan was calling for all. I feel like Satan would have been the opposite. I feel like Satan would be like, let all the people be born. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But in the 2000s, there was a lot of defacing of these stones.
I would imagine.
Until finally, in 2022, someone blew them up.
Oh.
So they are no more.
Oh, that's too
Which
bad.
is why there's now a plaque instead of the actual things commemorating this thing. Because
Oh.
apparently we need
Why?
to commemorate
Why?
this thing.
Bad.
For the memory of Georgia Guidestones is what the plaque says at the top.
Yes,
Why do we need to
yes.
remember this? Yahoo.
I don't know, but they never found out who the guy was actually. But there is some evidence that it was a doctor from Fort Dodge, Iowa,
Oh.
What?
who was writing during all this time. He wrote multiple letters to the Des Moines Register about curbing the world's population,
Oh boy.
supporting David Duke,
Oh.
and basically eugenics. So he was a real winner.
But he wanted to blow this up? I would think he would want to, celebrate it. It
He
seemed like
didn't
they...
blow it up. Someone else blew
Oh,
it up. Yeah.
okay.
They're saying
Someone
that the
that-
Fort
yeah.
Dodge guy was the guy who originally wrote it.
The Fort Dodge
Yeah.
guy was the guy who wrote it.
okay.
That's what they're.
All
That's
right.
the
That's
major
the theory.
is
Okay.
who this is. Yeah. So I had never heard of these. I had no idea this existed. I thought it was hilarious, but also real gross. And the fact that they even after it was blown up, they were like, "We love these so much. We gotta commemorate it."
So I have some follow-up questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
The land that he went ahead and erected this on, was it public land? Like, how
It's-
did he?
It was like a field. It was like just basically
so maybe
out.
somebody or something, someone probably owned that and he got permission or something.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
It was a
we
field
can't just all going
outside.
around erecting stone statues. 'Cause if we could,
We could set up a fuzzy memory.
I got
statue.
a
Oh,
few
yeah.
ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this was outside of what I assume is a small town, Elberton,
Yeah.
in just a field. So I don't know if it was not owned, if he had like a ownership, or he had some sort of deal with maybe whoever owned the field.
Follow the
Don't know.
land to find the guy, people.
That's
Follow
right.
the land ownership. He either owns it or he had to know the person
Yeah.
in order to do it.
Well, apparently no one wanted to dig because they were like,
This is
This guy seems a little scary."
So did someone blow it up as like an act of defiance?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it was like, yeah. All right.
Yeah, because
Maybe-
all of the defacing over the last like 10 years before that were basically about how horrible this was.
Right.
So it was,
Okay.
Maybe it was spontaneous combustion.
maybe it was. Or
Maybe he also pissed off Dave Thomas or
Oh,
someone.
shit. It's not the guy you want to be on the wrong side of.
No.
I'm telling you.
it might have been a laser.
Uh-huh.
Who knows?
It could have been a laser. You're
Could have
right.
been a laser.
I kind of love that part of the story.
Yeah, yeah,
that someone's
yeah,
just
that
like,
someone
we're
blew
blowing
it up."
up.
Yep.
It feels like a misguided night, right? Like you're all just out. You've
Yeah.
been at the
Yeah.
wind hole, and
Right.
you're like, you know what we need to do? We need to blow some shit up.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know how you're gonna follow that.
Yeah. How you gonna
but-
follow? How you gonna follow my
get ready.
guidestones?
Get ready to have your minds blown.
Oh,
I can't
I-oh.
wait.
Okay.
There was a TV show
Oh.
in 1980 called Barbara Mandrell and the Mandrell Sisters.
Oh my god! I haven't heard that name in decades.
It debuted on NBC on November 18th, 1980. And as the title strongly suggests, it starred Barbara Mandrell and her sisters, Louise and Earlene. But get
Earlene?
this. Get this. Louise Mandrell's full name is Thelma Louise Mandrell.
That's fantastic.
Uh-huh. So the name features both title characters in the 1991 film, Thelma and Louise,
Yeah.
which was the inspiration for the names of two of Amy's cats.
Absolutely.
Thelma and Louise.
Yeah.
So even though we've never mentioned her on the podcast before today, she's basically been here all along.
Yeah, she's been the patron saint
She's just been
of my
hiding in the
cats.
shadows.
Yeah.
I think we could get her to come on,
I
maybe.
think, yeah, is she still alive?
I think so, yeah.
Okay,
I
great.
toured her house in Nashville.
Really?
Her like mansion farm thing.
Barbara or Louise?
Barbara.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you don't know about Thelma Louise
No,
Mandrell?
I didn't.
Yeah.
No, it was all very staged. Like, I don't think she lives at that place anymore. I think
Yeah.
that's where but a lot of fake pies.
Fake pies. So Barbara Mandrell and the Mandrell Sisters was a variety show that mixed music and comedy and regularly featured special guest stars like Dolly Parton, Ray Charles, and Johnny Cash. You know, big time stuff. Each episode also included a sketch that featured puppets from Sid and Marty Krofft, who was also one of the producers.
So puppets and Johnny Cash
Those two things.
mix well.
Match made in
Yep.
heaven.
Uh-huh.
So when the show premiered, Barbara Mandrell was like one of the most popular musical artists of the day, and not one person outside of their family knew who her sisters was.
Were they also singers though at this point?
Yes.
Or okay.
Yeah. Someone else might have known who they were, but they have yet to admit it on the internet. The comedy sketches featuring the three sisters often portrayed Barbara as the pushy sister, Earlene as the sexy dope, and Louise as the smart one.
So it was Golden Girls before Golden
Kind
Girls?
of.
And they were
Kind of,
doing
yeah.
sketches along with this.
They were
stuff.
doing sketches. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, they'd like sing it. They'd open the show like singing a song, and then they'd do a sketch, and they'd come back, and like Barbara would like talk to Johnny Cash for a few minutes, and they'd sing a duet together, and it was like
Immediately
Wow.
when you said opened in song, I thought of Kristen Wiig with those baby
That's
hands.
exactly what I thought of. When you said Earlene, that's what I
Yeah.
thought of.
So, in addition to the singing and acting, the show also featured the sisters playing multiple instruments. Barbara played the banjo, the steel guitar, piano, and saxophone.
Whoa.
Barbara.
Uh-huh.
That's an impressive list.
Yeah. Louise played the violin, or fiddle if you're nasty. And the banjo. And Earlene played the drums, because as the sexy dope, you just do
You gotta
it.
play the drums.
Yeah, just do what the boys like, right?
Fiddle if you're nasty. I just need to, yeah.
So each episode ended with the sisters and all their guests singing kind of a medley of songs together to kind of close out the show. The show was a big hit in the ratings, but it only lasted a couple seasons because apparently Barbara was exhausted. Between recording and promoting new music and appearing on the show, she was, as she might put it, tuckered out. Got to the point where she was being given cortisone shots to help relieve the strain on her voice so she could tape the program.
Oh,
She
no.
just had to throw in the towel, Which, I mean, it was a good show, but, you don't want Barbara Mandrell to die. For the show.
No.
Yeah.
Or really
Oh,
destroy
those
something.
dynamics are probably bad behind the scenes. Like the sisters are like, "This is all we have." And
Yeah.
she's like, "I can't."
And they're like, dope her up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot her up with cortisone.
Yeah, they were probably the ones administering those shots. Like,
Yeah, they
were.
Earlene would hold her down, and Louise would be like, "Shut up."
Yeah, exactly. You let us have a piece of the pie.
So I have three primary memories of the show.
Okay.
I remember thinking that Kraft puppets were discount versions of the Muppets.
Yes.
That sounds right.
Yeah, kind of like that homemade Care Bear thing that I talked about a
Oh,
while ago.
yes. Yep. Uh-huh.
I remember once Crystal Gale was a guest on the show.
Crystal Gale.
And she is a singer who had the really long, very straight black hair. And I remember she was wearing a sequined piece in her hair. I don't really know what else to call it. It was like saucer-sized barrette or something like that. And for some reason, maybe because of how it was like on the side of her head and it wasn't falling off, I just assumed it was attached with staples or glue or something. Like, I didn't know like it was like defying gravity to me, and I was like, how is that on there? And I just
stapled it to Crystal
yeah,
Gale's head.
Yeah, and I was assumed some pain was involved, but she was just a pro and she was doing it, and I was like, this is how we do it, ladies.
That's so kind of you to just
Yeah.
notice already at age 5. Like the ladies have to go through a lot of shit.
Yep. I do. The other thing I remember is I watched it with my grandmother, and I loved watching it with my grandmother because it was on Saturday nights for most of the run, and we'd watch together, like I said. And to all you 5-year-old boys listening to this podcast now, you shouldn't be listening to this podcast. Number one, and also don't be afraid to watch TV with your grandmother on Saturday nights. They'll love it.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
I'm going to round out my tour of 1980 with something that still endures today that I still have to buy at the grocery store.
Okay.
And that's Capri Sun.
Oh, that was from 80?
Wow.
Well, it debuted in Germany in 1969.
Oh.
So that
69.
history feels a little sketchy. But Kraft now holds the licensing agreement in the United States. Coca-Cola holds the licensing, that's tough to say, licensing agreement in Europe. So if you're unfamiliar with Capri Suns, which seems like a wild thing, it's basically like, sort of appears like a tinfoil bag that you poke a straw into. As of recent years, they've made the bottom clear because there was some pushback from some parent groups that they would like go moldy on the inside.
Oh.
Yeah. So things were floating in there.
How old would a Capri Sun have to be to go moldy? Like 30
I
years?
think it had more to do with, I don't know if you're familiar with those applesauce pouches. Those went moldy. And then there was this big push to be able to see into like anything that a kid ate that was in a pouch, like what's actually in there. And I was like, if you're at the point that you're wondering what's in a Capri Sun,
Right.
it's
Yeah,
sugar.
Right,
It's just sugar. Like, that's it. It's sugar water. That's what you're giving your kid. It's fine. We've all accepted it. But it was originally owned by Shasta Beverages, if you remember Shasta. And in 1980, they expanded and brought Capri Suns to the Midwest. And my life was never the same because those pouches were like liquid gold to me. I remember that sometimes for like special occasions or something, maybe someone would bring them at school or something like that. I also remember that the straws are annoying as fuck because I would always poke the back and never get it straight down. So I'd have a double hole situation.
Double hole sitch.
Yes, and then you have no choice but to sort of drink it out of the hole without
That's
the straw.
exactly right.
And
Yeah.
it's just- yeah. It's a whole thing. At one point they dabbled in paper straws, which no surprise could not penetrate.
yeah.
The
Couldn't penetrate. Couldn't do it.
So I think they called those whiskey straws,
Oh,
whiskey dick straws.
okay,
I don't
sure.
know. I don't know. I just know that they didn't penetrate.
Yep, that sounds right. That sounds right.
So bad. So these are still around today. My kids love them. Their favorite flavor is fruit punch. Apparently, globally, the favorite flavor is orange, which I don't know if I've ever seen an orange Capri Sun.
I don't remember, I don't think we had them growing up, or in our house, I mean.
Yeah.
And I don't remember them much at school or anything. Maybe I'm remembering more like the square ones. What
Yes.
were those? Were those
I re-
high C or
High
something?
I was going to say,
yeah.
we had high C.
Yeah.
That's what we had more of too, because I think there was a big price. There used to be a price difference between like Capri Sun
Yes.
and High C, and
Yeah.
Capri Sun was always more expensive.
Yes.
those tables have shifted because of all
Really?
of the drink options that are out there now. Yeah, Capri Suns are not as expensive or whatever as they
Interesting.
used to
Okay.
be, but. They were originally made as like an alternative to orange juice, like an easier pouch or whatever to enjoy orange juice out of. I don't know. I personally never saw an obstacle to orange juice consumption, but
No.
I guess that's why I'm not an inventor.
It's been
Yeah.
pretty widely available for
Yeah,
for
it doesn't seem
decades.
hard. I mean,
Yeah.
pour it out. I guess if you want an individual serving of orange juice, maybe.
But didn't they even have little milk cartons of orange juice
Yeah.
when we were kids?
Yeah. So, anyway.
The guy down my street that worked at A&E always handed those out at Halloween. And I was like,
Hand
cool,
out
but
orange juice?
yeah, I was like, cool, but where's the candy?
Yeah.
Right.
This
He's
is
like, orange juice is nature's candy. Okay, perv.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, fine, I'm out.
Okay, Henry Thomas, you're gonna spontaneously combust tonight because of this horrible Halloween gift.
I feel like at the end of Halloween, like the end of trick or treating, there was like 30 containers of like unopened orange juice, like at the end of his driveway.
Yep.
Kids were just
Yeah.
like, "Oh God, gross."
Yeah.
It's like the neighbor across the street when they moved in like 2 years ago, and the first Halloween they gave raisins in like tiny boxes of raisins, and I was like, bold
People are
move,
still
Cotton.
doing that?
Bold move,
No.
Cotton. No. These kids are entitled, and they are pissed that you gave them raisins.
I mean, we were pissed when we got raisins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yep.
That's not
What
the
is
gift
this
anyone
bullshit?
wants. Yeah. I mean, I would have taken a Capri Sun in my bucket.
Sure.
But didn't have that.
I remember making high C when I was a kid.
Mm.
Not in the boxes, but you'd have the packets of the
Yes.
powder.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember tearing off the thing and then like a little bit of the like
Dust.
yeah, the
Asbestos
dust. Yeah,
would
the
come
dust
out.
would come out and you'd inhale it. It'd be like a real strong. I'm like, I get why people like cocaine.
Yeah.
I get it.
I get it. Yes.
This powder is making it feel great.
But then you'd pour the powder into the pitcher, and then I would put in twice as much sugar as it said to.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then you'd fill it up with water, and it's just like, this is the best shit on earth.
I am high.
We always
on
did that
this.
with Kool-Aid. We did
Yes.
the mixing. and
That's what I was
everything.
thinking of
Yeah.
on my street. There was a guy that worked at the factory that made Kool-Aid in Mason City. So he gave out like the full-size packets that already had the sugar in it, which were like the expensive ones, you know, because you could get the
Shit.
little ones you added. Yeah. So we always went to his house and I was like, I got grape. Like pumped, just pumped.
And I think I'm talking about Kool-Aid. I know I said high C, but I think it was Kool-Aid
talking about
packets.
Kool-Aid,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever encounter anyone that snorted pixie sticks when you were like,
Snorted them?
yeah?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Good to know.
That must have been a Catholic thing.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really did happen frequently.
Huh. Okay. Well, you guys were trying to
Where
get
did
some
it
enjoyment.
go? Like once it got up the nose, like where did it go? Like
I
did
don't
it just
know.
absorb into their?
That's the exact reason I would never do it, because I was like, I don't understand what's happening.
Do you think those kids still have nasal cavities, or is it burned out?
Well, I'm assuming they burned it out with cocaine now.
Well,
Because that's,
true,
I mean,
true.
if there's ever a gate,
They
I
got
know
that
everyone
habit.
thinks it's marijuana,
Nope.
but I really think
Pixie
pixie
sticks.
sticks are the gateway to cocaine because people were lining them up and snorting them.
Yeah. It was just practice for the real thing.
Yeah. And I don't know what that felt like or why.
Is it like how models used to soak tampons in vodka and then use them, and then they wouldn't get the calories of vodka, but they'd still get drunk? Is it like that? Were your friends like calorie conscious?
Oh, perhaps. That's wild, by the way. So,
I don't know medically how that works. So
I don't
if there's
either.
any doctors
Yeah.
listening,
yeah.
Vodka
Well, so-
vag, that's what it is.
Okay, so the title of this episode is
Vodka vag.
Vodka vag. Great. And fiddle if you're nasty.
That's right. Yeah. Speaking of vag,
Oh,
I've
shit. That's a transition.
my last one is a movie,
uh-oh.
Vag?
which was it's a bold move, I know, because you usually talk about the movies. Blue Lagoon.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have this on your list?
Nope.
Okay, good. All right, so the Blue Lagoon. In case you don't know about this timeless tale,
I do not.
really?
No.
Oh my God. Okay, let me tell you about this weird movie.
Okay.
All right. So
settle in.
we're in the Victorian period.
Okay.
So there's two cousins, 9-year-old Richard, 7-year-old Emmeline, and there's a cook. They're all on a ship together. The ship is shipwrecked. So the
Oh,
two
no.
kids and the cook, Patty, they land on this lush tropical island in the South Pacific.
Okay.
And Patty, because the kids are young, Patty's taking care of the kids. He's a very gruff, sort of older guy. You know, he dies after a drunken binge and leaves the kids to themselves. So the kids build their own home, pretty much. And over the years, they're just living together. And then suddenly, puberty hits. What now? So once that happens, the two of them, which, by the way, let me clarify. The girl is Brooke Shields. The guy, don't remember
Was
his
it
name.
Christopher something?
Christopher something, yep. Brooke Shields is maybe like 14 at the time she's doing this. Okay. So the two of them go skinny dipping in the ocean one day, but Emmeline realizes, I have funny feelings about Richard all of a sudden. She gets her first period, and she's freaked out because she has no idea what's happening, except
Yeah.
she thinks she's dying, which, a lot of us sometimes do.
Yeah, that can happen.
And then around this time, hopefully not at the same time as the period, Richard realizes he's also attracted to Emmeline. He has funny feelings. He tries to initiate sexual contact with Emmeline. She rebuffs him. He hides from her and masturbates for the first time. This is all in this movie, okay?
What?
Yeah. So then a ship appears for the first time in years. But Emmeline, she doesn't like the signal fire that they'd set up because she's like, she likes where they're at, I guess. So Richard confronts her and she says, no, this is our home now. And then they do it.
Okay.
I feel like Emmeline is sending mixed signals, which she's allowed to do. She can change her mind at any time.
Right.
And by the way, when I say they do it, they kind of figure it out because they don't know what happens. They don't know where things go until suddenly they do. And then boom, sex.
Okay.
And then no one understands what happens when Emmeline suddenly feels her belly moving.
No! Dear Lord.
So when she gives birth to a baby, they're like, what happened?
Okay, I don't appreciate you hiding Ron DeSantis' birth story as a movie from 1980.
So then there's a ship led by Richard's father. And he like passes by the island, but he sees these two people and this baby all covered in mud. And he's like, well, that's not them. So he just keeps going.
Doesn't bother to stop. You've come this far. You couldn't just dock it for a minute.
Nope.
So he did see people on a deserted island, was just like, well, I know they're not the ones I'm looking for, so screw
They
them.
wouldn't be covered in mud. That's gross.
My kid's clean.
Yeah.
He's been shipwrecked for years, but obviously not covered in mud.
So then the three of them, they have like a tiny little boat. I don't remember where this boat came from, but it's not something they could have, gone out with.
Okay, right.
They're all on this boat, like having a picnic or something, and some sharks come. And so they use their oars to try and get rid of the sharks, and then the sharks take their oars. So then they're just out in the
Sharks
water.
are so mean.
I know. So then they're just
so
out
cruel.
adrift on the water.
No.
And they wake to find out that their child has grabbed a handful of these berries that Patty, a long time ago, had said, those are going to kill you. So he has this handful of berries and eating these berries. And so Richard and Emmeline, they're like, well, okay. So they eat the berries too. And they lie down and they're ready for death. And at that time, the dad has swung around, apparently, with his ship. And they come by and they find them. And the last line of the movie is like, are they dead? They're like, no, they're asleep. Boom! Blue Lagoon.
But are they dead?
Well, there's conflicting theories because there was a sequel, and in the sequel it was said that they did die, and it was a different couple.
Oh. So they just couldn't get the original actors back,
Apparently.
or they'd gotten to be too old, so they
Yeah, or maybe Brooke Shields realized how fucked up it had
Right.
been that she'd been so sexualized.
couldn't. Right,
It was
yeah.
like,
But her
"Yep,
mom,
nope, I'm out."
like put her in that movie.
So this was actually a big hit, but it was critically reviled.
What?
She was only she was only 14, like I said, when she filmed this. But apparently there was an adult who did her like naked scenes. I don't think that's true because you see a lot of her and her face. We didn't
So
have
they just
technology.
said that?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
But I remember watching this and thinking, I think this is how I learned about periods, and I learned about sex in some ways. So this was an instruction manual for me. Not the part about, being on a deserted island.
No.
But, all the other stuff.
Oh, man. Heavy movie.
At first, I thought you were going to say they figured out that guy said don't eat the berries because they were just good and he wanted them all for himself.
Yeah.
There was a whole other subplot, too, of at one point that guy that died at the beginning, he found like an altar on the island, and he heard like weird noises and stuff, so he was like, don't ever go to that side of the island. So apparently there was some lost situation going on there with like,
Oh, my.
devil worshippers. I don't know.
Okay. Blue
I don't want to
Lagoon.
watch that movie.
Well,
You did a good job describing it.
Thank you.
Don't take it personally.
That's
I just
all right.
don't want to watch it.
I'm surprised you never saw it.
I've heard of it a lot,
Okay.
mostly in the context of Brooke Shields, like as
Yes.
she has gotten older and talked
Yeah.
about how her mom kind of pimped her out for money
Yeah,
and
ugh.
I mean,
So this is a movie I watched a lot in the 80s. If that, gives you any insight into me.
it gives me more insight to other things.
Okay.
Not you.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. All right. All right, Heath. You ready to finish this up?
I think
Follow
I am.
that.
I think I am.
Follow that wind.
Hole.
Well, there was also a different movie that came out in
What?
1980, and it was called 9 to 5.
This was in 1980?
It really was. That's crazy.
Oh, that's glorious.
So it starred Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, and Dolly Parton in the first movie I ever remember seeing in theaters.
Really?
Which I don't know what that says about why 9 to 5, a movie about,
Working ladies.
I don't know why I was saying this film as a 5-year-old, but I suspect that I insisted on it.
You saw
Yeah.
Dolly Parton and you're
Right.
like, I need
Yeah,
to
you've
get
been
in
watching
on
Barbara
that.
Mandrell. You're like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
where I need to be.
I mean, cartoons are good and all, but I was a child who was interested in the plight of the working woman.
You were a feminist from the start. Heath.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on record here and claim, with no actual evidence, that women's rights were my first words.
I believe it.
Yeah, you
I do
heard it
too.
here first.
That also
too.
sounds like another line he's using to start the cult. He's like drawing us
Yeah.
in with this mythology about
Yeah,
himself.
because I was right back in. If
Yeah,
he
I
had
was
just told me
totally
to
in.
do something in service of
Yeah.
the cult, I would have done it.
God.
And I did done
That's
it
right.
singing 9 to 5.
Exactly.
And you would have done it thinking, this is going to advance the plight of the woman.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So in the film, Lily Tomlin plays Violet, Jane Fonda is Judy, and Dolly Parton plays Dora Lee. They are co-workers at an organization named Consolidated Companies. And they suffer under their shithead boss, Franklin Hart, who is a, I quote, sexist, egotistical, lying, hypocritical bigot. Violet actually trained Frank, and now he's her superior, and a bad one at that. And he encourages the rumor that he's having an affair with Dora Lee, who is very much not interested in anything like that.
Not any of this.
I'm not interested in any of this.
Yeah.
So when Frank overlooks Violet for another promotion in favor of a man below her, she loses her patience and tells Dora Lee about the affair rumor. So they leave work to get drunk and end up smoking weed that night with Judy, and they discuss how they'd like to take Frank Hart down, and they even joke about poisoning him.
As you do.
As you do.
As you
As
do.
you
As one does. So the next day at work, he asks Violet to fetch him coffee, and she accidentally puts rat poison in his coffee.
Shoot.
So when he gets hauled off in an ambulance, she thinks it's because of the rat poison, but he actually just hit his head on a shelf in his office like he fell out of his chair.
I'm an idiot.
So Violet and Judy and Dora Lee go to the hospital to see if he survived, and overhear a doctor pronounce him dead without realizing the doctor is talking about a different person. So we're really, at this point, we're really in Three's Company territory,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
it works,
So much.
Don't let this deter you. So the women decide to get rid of the body. They leave the hospital and end up with a flat tire, and after getting a tire iron from the trunk, they discover they've got a completely different dead person in their possession.
As you do.
That happens. I mean, it just happened to me like 2 days ago. But yeah.
And like them, you probably just went back to the hospital and put it on a gurney and just sort of pushed it into the
That's
the
all.
ER room
That
there.
is dead body 101. I mean, if you accidentally stole their own body, you just go return it.
do.
It's not- everybody makes
Yep.
a big deal.
It's
You don't try and dispose of
fine.
it. You just return it.
Yeah.
Like if you took someone's meal from Panera and it was, you just take it back and be like, sorry, I grabbed the wrong bag.
Exactly.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here's a dead body back.
My bad. I took a bite
The rest
before
of
I
it's
realized.
still
Yeah.
there. I've got a clean mouth.
Yeah.
You're fine.
I got clean mouth. It's the worst thing to say.
What's better? I want to sex you up, or I've got a clean mouth.
I think I want to sex you up is better than I have a clean mouth. I don't.
I feel like someone saying I've got a clean mouth is a definite lie. If someone
Oh,
says I want to sex
yes.
you up, at least you know they're probably telling the truth.
That's
Yeah,
true. That's
they're just
true.
they have bad game. Like,
Right, yeah.
if someone says I have a clean mouth,
Nope.
there's nowhere good that's
You don't.
going.
No, you don't.
No, and also, how am I going to test that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. When you know for sure, it's too late. So Frank Hart shows up for work as normal the next day, but finds out what the women were up to after his office spy eavesdrops on them in the ladies' room. Hart
Who's
te-
another woman, the office spy?
Yes.
Which
Of course.
sucks.
Of
Yes.
course.
Yep. And this is something that this character did. Like, she hung out in the ladies' room with her feet up on the toilet to, like, listen
Yes.
to the other
You
workers complain.
slimy bitch.
Obviously, a Republican selling out other women.
Yeah, clearly, Christy, no.
So Frank Hart tells Dora Lee all will be forgotten if she sleeps with him, but she
Cool.
refuses, and chaos ensues, ending with Hart hogtied with a telephone cord and Judy brandishing a gun.
Yes.
Get it, Judy.
Yep, so the women discover that Hart has been embezzling money from the company, and they realize they have to keep him captive for over a month until they can get their hands on the paperwork that proves that he broke the law. Which is, again, there's like, you know, that seems like a long time to wait for paperwork even then. So they send his wife on a cruise and then use a garage door opener and some chains to keep him confined to his bedroom at home.
That was nice of them. They put
Yeah.
him in his own bed.
Yeah.
His wife gets home early and freeing him and allows him time to kind of cover his tracks. But while he was out, the women implemented several new policies in the office that have increased company morale. So when Hart's boss shows up, Hart takes all the credit for the uptick in productivity and morale. And so his boss invites him on a multi-year trip to Brazil so he can implement the same programs there. Violet, Julie, and Durley celebrate being rid of Frank Hart, who ends up being kidnapped by Amazons in Brazil and is never heard from again.
Such a
That's the happy
satisfying end.
Wonderful.
I watched this so many times. The part where they're getting high and they're like envisioning their own revenge fantasy, and like Dorley's a cowboy, and like I don't remember what the other two. But so
Judy was like on a safari. She was like on a
Yes,
big game
yes.
safari, and I think Violet was like Snow White.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, it was like one of the biggest hits of 1980. It was like the number 3 most popular movie of the year or something like that. And that was the year that a Star Wars sequel came out. Like
That's
this
right.
was, yeah, it was
Yep.
huge. And it's been turned into a TV series that was on for 5 seasons, and it was a Broadway musical in 2009. Allison Janney played the Violet.
I saw
Really?
that musical.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't see it with Allison Janney, but I saw the 9 to 5 musical.
That idea sounds bad, but then I hear Allison Janney. And I'm
Right.
like,
And Dolly
okay.
Parton, like, you know, she wrote
Yeah,
the
it
music
was
for it.
actually
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
good,
okay.
to be fair.
Yeah.
So Dolly Parton wrote the theme song on set of the movie using her fingernails to kind of develop the beat.
Yeah, like her acrylic nails.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the song was the #1 hit. It won 2 Grammy Awards and was nominated for Best Original Song at the Academy Awards, but it lost to the song Fame from the movie Fame.
Come on.
No.
Yeah.
Disagree.
And I remember I saw this movie in Carroll, Iowa with my mom and my aunt. And I remember wearing a shiny yellow bomber jacket
Get it?
because I was not just a child feminist, but a style icon as well.
Yes. I love
my
that
God.
you remember your
His-
bomber jacket.
His cult leader image is him in a yellow bomber jacket.
You're
It
right.
has to be.
You're right. Oh, then we're all gonna have bomber jackets.
We're all
and
gonna
the
have
different
bomber
colors
jackets.
are gonna denote our level in the cult.
Exactly.
Heath is the only one with yellow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and my brother had a matching one, but his was green.
Oh my God.
Because my mom did this a lot. Like when she'd buy us, like
Sure.
we'd have
Yeah.
matching. Like she made us suits for a picture once, and mine was brown and his was navy blue.
Oh, she made them?
She made them for it. I don't really remember what I thought was happening in the movie because as a 5-year-old, I probably didn't really get it. But I loved it, and I remember that I loved the character Margaret, who was the office drunk, and basically the only thing she ever said was "Atta girl." Whenever someone was pissed
right.
off about something and like stormed off. But one of the new office programs the women implemented got Margaret on the wagon, so that good for her. At the end of the movie, she was all cleaned up.
I'm so glad that in our 1980 episode we realized what cult we're finally gonna join.
Start, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and-
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and that I mean, I feel like we'll be in good hands with Heath.
I think
1000%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you weren't, I wouldn't tell you now anyway.
Yeah.
Is there a signing fee? Do we have to sign away our money to you?
No.
Okay.
There's a monthly. There's a
Oh,
subscription. fee,
okay,
but
sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I'll just add it to all the
That's fine.
subscriptions.
I mean, we
Yeah.
did make Heath sign a billion-year contract.
That's true.
with
We
us,
did.
so-
We did. So this is only fair.
Yeah, it's only
yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
only
And these
fair.
contracts can run concurrently.
Okay.
So
Appreciate that.
Well, we know the rest of our life now. That's great.
Done.
Yeah.
Yay.
Fuzzy Memories is a Broads and Books production. It's hosted by Heath Smith, Aaron Johnston, and Amy Lee Lillard. The show is produced by Amy Lee Lillard. Follow us at Fuzzy Memories Pod on Instagram for clips and highlights. And follow us at Broads and Books Productions for updates on new shows coming your way. See you next time.
And we've just really wanted to specifically say hi to Lily.
Yeah. And Lily is obviously awesome because she's related to Mr. Heath Smith.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Obviously, trendsetter.
Yeah.
I've already
I
decided.
mean, we've already talked about how we're obviously catnip to the teens. You know?
See, the phrase catnip
Yeah.
is what makes us
Exactly.
catnip to the
We are hip, and we know. Yeah, we know what the teens need. So yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Lily. Don't listen to your dad.
That's good.
We
Good
know
advice.
you're going to do great things, Lily. We can already
Obviously,
tell.
if you get our humor, then geez.
Yeah.